Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Woodbine Racing Live. Chad Rosen, your host here for the night. Happy weekend, everybody. Happy Memorial Day long weekend to our friends south of the border. Hopefully you enjoy hopefully some downtime and some good racing. I know there's going to be some great stuff going on south of the border. Also right here at Mohawk Park over the next couple of days as we dive into some more stakes action. Tomorrow we'll have more on that a little bit later on. But as I bring in my Hall of Fame compadre, Randy Waples, what's nice to see, just as Evan just touched on, although somebody still has the heat turned off, at least it's dry, and that track looks way better. It was just wasn't real nice last night.
No, sometimes though, when summer kind of drags its way in, sometimes it drags its way out too. So maybe
that's what I'm hopeful for.
Maybe that's what I'm hopeful too.
I'm not saying we're gonna have
summer,
a short. Yes, exactly. Let's go well into October.
I don't care if it just stays 75 and never gets any warmer than that. 75 is good with me.
Oh, that's not
I'm
much
not greedy.
to ask.
I'm not greedy.
That's
you know,
right.
Some people will probably want 80s and beach weather. No, 75 is good for Randy.
Yeah.
So you know, hopefully. We start to see those 75 soon, though, because it is getting a little waterlogged out here.
Yeah, you know what I hope to start seeing is some wins, courtesy of me in my handicapping.
Oh, yeah.
Man, what a tough night it was last night.
It was. It's been tough.
It was tough. I mean, even the ones that did find some winners, there weren't many to find.
No.
It was just a tricky night. I think some maybe didn't agree with the track. Or the conditions itself. I think some maybe with how our weather's been like this, probably dealing with some sickness, this time of year, and tough to know that until after the fact.
I'm kind of going through the same thing there. I think, usually it's one or two. In the last week or so, it's been like one or two winners, and they're always paying like $3. Can't find the ones that I want, but that's the way it goes, right?
Yeah, but you know what? I'm trying to do exactly as my Oilers are trying to do tonight, and that's rebound. And have a much better performance.
I think you're going to rebuild yourself.
Well, not quite there yet. Yeah. That's listen. I'm just looking for a quick fix.
There's probably a couple of Maple Leafs there you could take over to the Oilers. There's probably they're done early.
Could you know what though? Don't want any. No, we'll leave them on the golf course. Yeah, that's where we'll leave them. Yeah, but let's talk about the track out there because we know the weather's nicer. I just did look at the forecast. Although clouds tonight and cool, it doesn't see any of the wet stuff in the forecast, which is nice. And out there, that track looks vastly different than it did just a day ago.
Well, you and I are going to be happy about that. Evan's already come on camera and said that he's happy that there's not going to be rain, and I can guarantee you there's going to be two other entities that are very happy. Number one, our track crew. They're probably absolutely exhausted the last few nights, that they've had to work on the track. And the other one is the drivers.
Yes.
Did you see these guys coming in here last night after that last race?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't feel all that bad for them because I don't have to do it anymore. But yet when I see them, there's just that little twinge. Like maybe I do have a heart because I did feel bad for them,
Grew four sizes. Well, I'll tell you, I didn't see a lot of smiles last night.
No. I think there was a few just because they were done.
Yeah.
It's done.
Yeah, actually, I think I saw McClure when he got hosed off here after the 9th race. I think that's when you saw the smile crack from him, and he got to go home.
Yeah.
In there. So anyway, looking forward to it.
Your cookies are done.
Yeah, exactly. All right, we've got a bunch of replays to go over on this 10-race program, as we do have 10 tonight, 10 tomorrow, and then I believe it's 10 on Monday as well. And we'll see if things ramp up next weekend. Race number 2 is where we're going to begin our coverage. Note that race 1, however, does start the early pick 5, guaranteed at $75,000. The second race, Randy, is a trotting bunch, a field of 9 in here. I think Carmen Auciello's got a nice 1-2 punch if they mind their manners. Come to play in here. Carm had, 2 winners last night?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, so you know what? That could always... And I know over the years, Carmen can get very streaky.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden he can fire at like a good 30% clip for a nice stretch.
Yeah.
So, keep that in mind. If you start seeing some other horses popping up with wins, and I do think he's actually got a couple of good win candidates tonight.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing about it, right? Everybody's barn at some point is going to go a little stale. That's just the way that it happens.
Yeah.
And even if you're a catch driver, me and Chris Jr. used to have a running joke. The only bad part about being on the Who's Hot list is very soon you're going to be on the Who's Not list because those horses... they come out of class, they get claimed, they get a worse post position, they get up in class, you know what I mean? They're just not quite. And then all of a sudden you'll hit where everything is where it's supposed to be, Carm, little bit of a different scenario. I find that Carm sometimes in my opinion anyway, sometimes he'll hang on to a horse maybe a little bit too long in certain situations, because when he gets fresh ones in his barn, look out.
Yeah.
We've seen the same thing last
I love the
night.
Carm angle with new recruits.
And what did we see last night with on-time delivery? Another great race. That was only Carm's third start with that horse. You know what I mean? That's what I like, when he freshes things up a little bit. You know?
And also, you know, and I'm sure you went through this as a driver as well. Again, something out of your control is, again, if a horse shows up sick.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Tough to know that until after the race.
Yeah,
you
for
know,
sure.
you're expecting a horse to race well off the lines and then just comes up flat.
Comes up
find
flat,
out, full of mucus.
and you don't know why.
Yeah.
You know, you just know that it wasn't the horse that you thought was going to show up, and it wasn't the horse that the bettors made at 3-5. You know, it is what it is.
Mr. Magic dropping down a bit. The asking price goes from $30,000 to $20,000. He's been knocking on the door. We know he's got plenty of back class. You do want to tee up one of his most recent replays.
This is his very last one when he was in for 30. So, I mean, you know, 7 days later, he raced in an optional 20. Almost gets the job done, but gets picked off by Eyes of Justice, who I'm also going to play on top tonight. But this is his last one. So this is up in the optional 30. Now, Chad, how can a horse race this well in the optional 30, but maybe struggle sometimes in the optional 20? Riddle me that, Mr. Chad.
You know what? I don't really have an answer for you.
You
But
go.
when you are looking at that class, I mean, look at the most recent 54-2 in the optional 30. I mean, they're showing 54-2, just a couple of back in the optional 20, right? I mean, he is what he is. I don't think he's one that's going to be popular in the claiming game. He's been with Carm for a while,
Right.
You know, again in here. So, I mean, you just take him for what he's worth. You know, he looks like he's obviously just a top contender in here, right?
And, you know, like just my opinion, but the horse that beat him in that last Bella Cavala, that was way on the outside for McClure, I think that she's more like at home in that optional 50. So, and technically, he wasn't just racing again optional 30s. In my opinion, he was getting beat by an optional 50.
Yeah.
And now he comes away from those. So
Even
I
the
think
runner-up
he's gonna be
truffles
better.
too, we know is better
That's
than
right.
you typically better than what that classification
So
deems him.
I think that JD's in a really good situation here. He had the 8-hole last week. You know, got the 5-hole middle of the gate, should be able to get him out of here and get him in a good spot. I think over the next couple of days, the Dizzle's going to be putting some sizzle on, according to my selections, because I like him over the next couple of days with a couple of horses, and a couple of them are really long shots.
I like
too.
him in the first couple tonight.
Yeah.
right
So,
off
I
the
mean,
bat
you know,
here.
hopefully he can get the job done. But Buck Dancer, like you said, the 1-2 punch of Carmen.
I went that way.
You went Buck Dancer?
Yeah.
You know, really, is there really that much of a difference between Buck Dancer and Mr. Magic? I mean, it's almost like they could toss it back and forth.
Yeah, and I feel it's almost, you know, who's feeling better?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Who
not
physically
much.
is feeling better,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And Buck Dancer, I know it was an interference break in the latest. It appeared that maybe Dag van Henriksen's charge dropped in, like a little close for comfort, and just forced him off stride in that incident. So he'll look to bounce back. Here's Buck Dancer. All right, that's a look at race number 2. Our feature tonight's the third, which does kick off the early pick forwards. The fillies and mares preferred. A group of 6 are going to line up in here. I know that the Forest City pace is going to be part of that Camelot Classic program a week tonight in London, as you know, they wrap up you know, what's been another great meet for the folks there, and Greg Blanchard and company. So Much More, I believe, is one that's going to go into that Forest City. Not sure who else is going to be going into that, but we'll have some details there. But I think the one that kind of stands out here, at least on paper, is Sylvia Hanover. And her returning to the races, she's obviously a household name, but one that's quickly becoming a household name is Caviar and Crackers. And, I mean, have you ever seen her look better? Have you ever seen her perform better?
No,
Yeah.
I haven't. But before we talk that much about this race, who's going to go off as favorite, Chad?
Gosh, I think it'll be 1 or 2.
I think it's going to be 1.
Yeah.
I really do. Yeah.
She's finally getting some respect in the betting.
Yeah, and I mean she's on a good rotation. You know what I mean? She's doing what she's supposed to do, and Sylvia's coming back.
She is, but at that same token, I won't be surprised if Sylvia's a favorite simply because the name she is.
Oh,
and a lot of
guaranteed.
times it's
Yeah.
just, you know, I think some that maybe aren't as invested as much
Right.
into this, but they know the name. They say, okay, well, we know, you know, she always races against Twinbee, Joe Fresh, or whatever it may be. So it'll be interesting to see. I don't think there's going to be much that separates them.
No,
Yeah.
for sure. She's
Yeah.
going to be my top play. Sylvia Hanover. I'm
Okay.
going to go right on top.
And
2
you wanna show which
qualifiers or not.
qualifier?
The last qualifier.
The last one? Okay.
May the 16th on this one, you know.
Okay.
I say it's get done or get off the pot. get going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I understand in a way that she is such a great horse that, in some ways it seems to me like she gets babied once in a while. And I think she's in a race here tonight that there's no reason why she needs to be babied. I think that she's had 2 solid qualifiers under her belt, and I want to see her raced tonight. She spent some time on the outside. She's not going to be able to get up ahead of Larry Carr.
Bob's chasing her here.
Yeah, but to the same effect, though, too, Larry Carr is not in her wheelhouse, you know what I mean? When push comes to shove, Sylvia will always get, in my opinion, the better of Larry Carr, just not in a morning qualifier situation that was going on here. But again, 2 qualifiers. The last time that she raced was November the 16th, raced here. Then November the 23rd, she's entered back in and a vet scratch sick. I say race her. Let's go with this girl. You know what I mean? No more cuteness, no more coming at them. Make them come to her. Now, I know that that's a lot easier for me to say that in here than it is for Bob to do it out there. And I think Bob's done an incredible job with this mare. But let's face it, she's 5 years old. She's not made out of eggs, and she's not going to break. Let's race her. Yeah. I'm going with Sylvia Hanover on top.
Do you feel that, when you see a qualifier like that, again, chased along, and we know Larry Carr's got some speed and some ability there, but at the end of the day, we would have expected her to go by when push came to shove. But do you feel like she maybe, in her own mind, too, says, well, it's a qualifier. I'm just going to, listen, yeah, I'm going to do what I want to do right now. But then it's, we're under the lights here. We know it's game night.
But are we necessarily seeing it under the lights? That's my thing. I agree with the first part
I've seen
of
it enough
what you're
with
saying.
that.
You know what I mean? But before, when she was like when she was 2 and she was 3, they had to come to her lots of times. And if she did come to them, she was coming with power. You know what I mean? I just kind of find now it just seems like it's like, it's almost like they're scared to break her. I say that she's not breakable. Let's go. Sylvia Hanover, let's go. So I put her up on top. Where'd you go?
I went Century Jamila, but I know we're going to talk more about this a little bit later on as well, and we'll have some more visuals. But right now, just teeing that up early to kick off the early pick 4. Pick 6 begins in race number 4. Fillies and mares on the pace. It's a non-winners of 3 group in here, and I think you've got some nice ones, including some stakes hopefuls like a Charlotte Station. I'm sure the connections are happy to see her getting some wins under her belt now, because that's only going to help her going forward. They add blinkers tonight to her. More in the center of the gate, Oju Hanover looking to rebound. I mean, was that, do you think, a case of she chased a 50-3 winner and it just didn't work out, or was she maybe off her game a bit?
Way off her game. Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't even say a bit. I'd say way off her game.
That's not we've known her to be so much more powerful on the end of her miles.
And she shows it right on her lines, you know what I mean? She continuously loses ground, at the 3/4 pole home. The week before, she comes home 26-2. She doesn't show a cheaper quarter than 27 seconds, really. At all, and then last week she comes home 28 seconds without being used. To me, she just wasn't on her game. I think that she'll be a lot better in here tonight. So I'm going to throw her in for 3rd, but Artie's Money is who I'm going to go with up in front. Been very, very impressed with her. She moved up into this class last week, handled it very, very well. Charlotte Station got her in for 2nd. She's moving into this class, so we'll have to see if she's going to get the better of Artie's Money. But always remember, on Artie's Money, you're dealing with a 5-year-old racing against 3-year-olds. Don't, always take that into consideration. I think it gives her a big, big advantage. But the replay that we're going to show you, in case you're looking for a horse that I consider to be a little bit of a troubled trip, but had some serious, serious ability on the end of it. Maybe you're looking to play a little bit of a long shot in here. Let's take a look at the 6 horse in this race, Gentrify with Bobby McClure. And, I think it was a very, very good effort in there. She's not going to, she's in against, like Sunshine Magic beats her last week. So she's back in against her. And the Lane Side in Control beats her last week, and she's back in against her. But this was when Gentrify was making her first start off of 2 qualifiers, and they only beat her ahead. So I think that she's got the advantage on those 2, and when you bring in the other ones, unless Oju's Hanover shows up, I think that she can go with Charlotte Station and Artie's Money. And look at her here on the outside. She's coming flying on the outside for Bobby McClure. That's the last quarter in 26 and change. And like I said, first start back. She's going to improve just on that start alone. So even though I do have her in for 4th, and she is a 4-year-old, I think that she's playable in here, and I think she's playable up on top. So if you're looking to, maybe go a little bit of long shot or price shopping, I think Gentrify is a good one with our winning post position 6.
See, and I think Lane Side in Control raced better in there. I mean, she only had one qualifier. She too was coming back off a similar layoff, and came home at 26-1. Raced really well in there. I like this mare. I think she only has one poor line on her entire resume, and that was that last one of last season. But she's come back very well. I think she's going to stack up really well in this spot. But Artie's Money, I like everything you said about her. She's looked great, and this is one, if she keeps developing like this, we know she's going to be up in those top classes before you know it.
I like them all in here, but the one that I think has shown me the most talent of them all is the one horse Charlotte Station.
Yeah. I love the way she looks too.
Oh,
right?
I just don't know if the step
Captain
up and the
Treacherous
rail.
build. Yeah. Okay, race number 5 is where we head to next to close out the early pick 5. 3 Miss Dutton is out, so it'll be outside 7 are going to be able to slide down on the gate a little bit. Morning line choice is the 6 Western Wish. I think this is a legit shot for Carmen Auciello to get a W on the card. She raced pretty well last time. This has been a class that's typically been pretty good for her, and she's got tons of back class, but she's not the only one in here, and I know you're going to try one on the outside that just hasn't been able to find her way yet, and she's got it all. But she'll need a trip from out here, won't she?
Yeah, she will need a trip. She's getting a driver change. Louis he went with Miss Dutton, and she's going to be scratched. So I'm picking up James McDonald. Ever heard of him?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, anyway, I think he's a good replacement for Mr. Zieron, and I mean, she's 5 starts this year, Chad, and a offer across the board. It's time to stop that. I don't care if she's got the 10 hole.
Which that's rare for her.
Right. I think that she's the best. She consistently is the best horse in this race when she's on her game, and that's going right to the mares open too. She can compete easily with them. She's picking up the circuit's best. Going to move down from the 10 hole into the 9 hole. I think James has got different ways that he can race her. Maybe he's going to want to push out of there like Louis has. I myself would probably move her back and let her fire on the end of it. I think that she's still, even if she's, maybe 5 or 6 lengths out of it, I still think that she can fire enough to get by them. I really do think that she's a pretty deep kind of a horse, and she's going to be the way I'm going to go.
Yeah, what about last week's edition of this class? I think you want to focus in on Alabama Hannah, because with her, I mean, I think part of it was the win she got 2 back, kind of helped her out. Yeah. Finally got that win. But, since getting off the LASIK program, hasn't she looked better?
She has, but, to the same effect, though, too, I don't think that Billy Davis has hurt her either.
Okay.
I mean, he's never been beat more than 2.5 lengths, and that's when she was still on the LASIK program. Now, she makes the big drop down 2 starts ago, and Billy goes along for the ride, and she's a winner. This last one, now she's back up into the non-winners of 9,000 optional 50 claimer.
Yep.
And he's still up on a back right here, which is, I like that Billy's starting to draft these horses down the lane. He's not just whacking horses out in the middle of the track at the head of the lane. He's trying to follow like a James or a Dougie or a Louis or a Bobby. Watch these guys drive. They'll follow cover until that cover cannot take them one more step, and then they'll move off. I found that that's what Billy did in that race. I think Billy himself is getting along quite well with Alabama Hannah, and I got her in here for 3rd. Maybe a little bit of a different bunch that she has to race against, with the She's Got It All, getting a start under her belt, and she's going to be in there because I'm special, back at it again or whatever with a start under her belt. Maybe it'll be a little tougher for her, but I think that Billy Davis is really getting along well with Alabama Hannah.
Because I'm special, you mentioned. She worries me. I didn't use her, but she worries me because she had 3 weeks off due to some sickness.
You didn't use her at all?
No.
I put her in for 2nd.
Yeah, I didn't use her. I went 6'10", 7'5" in here because I'm
Chief's
special.
Dream Girl, we both used her.
Yeah, I just think she's gonna line up the post 6 now. Really good draw for her. I think she's got a shot at making some noise in here. Because I'm special has every reason to improve, I think, here tonight. We're gonna skip over 6, but do note that race number 6 does kick off that late pick 5. Race 7 is where we head to next, starting the late pick 4. And this has got some preferred types in here that are likely to be back at the top class maybe in the future. Leica tells on a roll, who were kind of waiting for her to sort of get back. I'm sure Cullen is as well to her tip-top form. And, maybe that last race just simply didn't work out for her, aggressively handled early on. I don't know, but I could see her bouncing back. But to me, it can't see me from the inside. It's a tough ask for her. your 3-year-old debut against some pretty established older mares, but she's got a good draw and she's come back great by all accounts.
And do you think that she can handle them?
I do.
Me too.
I do.
Me
Only
too.
because if you look at her, again, she's the daughter of Captain Treacher. She's got a nice big build to her, and I think she can.
And what she did last year, she
Yeah.
really showed us a lot last year. And where her post position is a real advantage, I think, because
Okay.
a lot of these better ones are going to be coming from the outside, which is going to allow her to, move where she wants. Okay, so this is the replay of the last qualifier, May 16th for Can't See Me. I thought this was overpowering. And the last 3 quarters in 122 flat, I think, 122 and 1. So really, really big last 3 quarters for her. So she's ready, in my opinion anyway, she's ready to go. And if they can race them in front in the qualifier and go last 3 quarters like that, why can't they race them at night that way? She's going to be my worth a look in here because I
Okay.
do think that I'm going to get a bit of a price on her. I think you are too, looking at that. I think there's going to be some shopping from the outside. Some of these other mares dropping out of the preferred down in against them. Her first start, there's going to be a lot of people look at it that way. But where I'm getting off of Tells on a Roll, Chad, who I've used her on top, all of her starts coming back in the preferred. Now she drops down to non-winners of 15,000, and I got her in for third, is because last week, one of the tells on a rolls, to me, one of her biggest tells, is when Travis fires her out of there. She's one of the fastest levers from the gate for a big mare like her that I've seen. And since she's come back, and last week especially, he tried leaving with her, and she didn't have that pop out of there. And that's what got her stuck on the outside and not able to clear till down the road. You know what I mean? It was a long move before she cleared. Now, normally, she's on top, crossed over, and in front before they can get to the first turn.
You blink and there's
Right, and she's there, and she didn't do that last week. So I'm going to back off. I'm going to throw her in for third. I'm going to go with Can't See Me in here. But I also think the Blake McIntosh horse raced extremely
really well.
in
Yep.
her first start back as well.
Yeah, she did. She's got to come up in class, but at least she's coming up with a little bit of confidence off of that. It's a nice group. Race
is a
number
nice
7,
group.
good full field as well. Race number 8 is where we head to next. Another full field in here on the pace. Non-winners of 1 for this group. And the morning line favorite is, well, it kind of sucks for me, okay? Because
Before you go in further, I'm gonna play host for a second, okay?
All right,
Here's where we're gonna go with this one, okay? I have the 3 horse up on top, okay? Like the 3 horse last week, but not enough to pull the trigger. Now, somebody else sitting at this table really liked this horse the last 2 starts, I think, and pulled the trigger in the last start. So take it away, Mr. Rosema. Who are you going with in race number 8?
Well, yeah, the 3, Shadow of an Angel, at a much shorter price here tonight. Likely favoritism status, but it is what it is. Now, Shadow of an Angel, what happened? I was calling the first night this one debuted, and it was just a horse that caught my eye, coming through the lane.
Do you get a lot of that when you're up there?
It stands out a
In
little
the
more up
post-parade,
there.
though.
Yeah, pre-race, I find that, or maybe there's a horse that's out there scoring down a couple races before the actual race.
Yeah. And it just, boom.
Yeah, and it just stands out to you.
Yeah,
right?
I hear that.
And,
Yep.
and it's amazing how many times that horse will go and perform well, if not win.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very... But anyway, Shadow of an Angel was one that caught my eye in that 7th place effort, and we showed a replay of that last week. And then last week was somewhat of a, steering kind of trip as well, because you can see where he is right now, and you can see the kind of hold that James has got. Now he gets a little bit of an opening to come on through here, and then he's going to swing around. I still actually thought... turning for home when he does angle, I still kind of thought Shadow of an Angel might reach, but a 26-second final quarter wasn't quite enough. Control Rocks ended up getting it done, and Control Rocks is going to go from this into the gold, right?
Who's a pretty good horse, Control
Yes.
Rocks.
Yeah, for Jack
there's
Darling.
no slouch getting beat to this one.
Yeah. But you know what? For Kevin Ben, your
Yeah.
second lifetime start, you're coming home in 26, you're pacing a mile in 51 and 4. Could you be any happier? Really?
No, and what about the way that when you showed it, when you teed it up around the last turn?
I see where he is after the
Yeah, when you teed it up around the last turn, what about the gate on this thing?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
unreal. Talk
Yeah,
about
no.
that old Pegasus gate, that floating kind of a gate. Oh, beautiful. So anyway, I'm going to go there too.
Yeah, me
Thanks
too.
for the tip.
Yeah, and what makes Kevin and Dennis Chadwick even happier is that this is a homebred for them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
what makes it even happier is the fact that you've been pointing this one out for them for 2 weeks there.
Now, one that I didn't use them, but I will say this Aaronwood Big Mac, he came out of that same May 9th race, A Shadow of an Angel.
Yeah.
They were the two that caught my eye finishing well on the end of that. So Aaronwood Big Mac, this is his next start after that. He's had a couple of weeks off. I think he's still kind of a project type horse, but there's ability there once he starts to put it all together.
Yeah, I'll throw a long shot in on this one too. I'm going to say Hello Darkness with Drury. I'm telling you, I like a few of these horses that Drury's. I think he's going to get along very,
Are you going
very well.
Simon
with
and
them.
Garfunkel on me here? Hello, darkness. Okay, all right. Race number 10 to close it out.
We're skipping
couldn't even
9?
get you to sing here. Yeah, we're skipping 9.
Trust me,
we're
dude,
skipping 9.
You don't want me singing.
Okay.
Yeah.
265,000 plus is what comes in for carryover into that jackpot high 5 as it continues to grow. Field of 10 here in the finale. Bottom level condition for the mares. Now, Missed Amber is the morning line favorite. She's going to get plenty of play in here. And we already saw this replay, and you might have, if you were kind of watching it, you might say, ooh, who was that one? But we were focusing on other ones. But the one in the green shadow roll just kind of...
Yeah, that's buried down near at the very,
play
very
this up
back
for us here.
right now. I was shocked that she raced this good. Like, I've liked her. We've all liked her. She really is a nice horse.
There's a pretty deep group she was against,
She
too.
was. That's the part that got me. And, where she was at the head of the lane, and I'm thinking, wow, she's just going to end up finishing 7th or 8th now. He finally shakes her loose. And this is what I'm saying about drivers drafting. At no point does McClure really move off of Travis. He just moves her onto the wheel mostly, and she kind of does it on her own.
Yep.
It's a big thing on a big track is draft when you're driving horses, you know what I mean? If that horse is still moving forward at the head of the lane, don't move. Stay there. Don't come off his back and just turn it into it because they're sprinting. You know what I mean? So stay with them. Let them do the work for a bit, then come off. Watch James, watch Louis, watch Dougie, watch these great drivers, drive these horses, just amazing to me watching them do what they do. But that is the biggest reason why. Draft these horses and they will go longer for you.
I'm going to try Doug High's horse, though, in the last.
8 days a week.
No, that's earlier. Only a Good Die Young.
Oh, okay.
Remember, this is the one that
I love this one. I've used her many times.
The key, as he has said, is her feet.
Yeah.
When they're feeling good. And I think the fact that she's on a regular rotation right now and pacing home well, I think she's feeling good.
I think I would have made her my all-in if she was racing last night on that muddy track. Talk about help her feet.
Yeah. All right. So that's a look at a bunch of them here on the program. Early pick 5, as we know, guaranteed at $75,000. Mr. Sneaky Waples likes to put together his little tickets. And, you got bookend singles. Talk us through it.
Okay, so in race number 1, I'm singling on Tempting, and she's getting a bridle change tonight. Going to go from open to blind. I love that bridle change. Way to go, Scooby. I think it's really going to make a big difference with her. I know she's been making some breaks, but I think the talent is there. In race number 2, I'm going to go 4 deep. I'm going to go 2, 3, 4, and 5. My top pick going to be Mr. Magic. In race number 3, I'm going 3 deep. I'm going to use the 1, the 2, and the 3 because I'm really not sure who I think is going to have that favoritism status, and I think that all 3 of these horses can win in this race. And in race number 4, back to 4 deep. I'm going to use the 1 Charlotte Station Artie's Money Au Jus in case she's back again and gentrify that replay that we showed you. And the other single comes in race 5, and that's going to go all the way out to the 10 hole with She's Got It All.
Now, just before we move on to the Fillies and Mares Preferred again,
you got a smirk on your face. What are you going to lay on me?
Scooby, who is that? Sean Stacey?
Sean Stacey.
Why can you say why you called Scooby?
Ask him. He'll tell you.
All right. You got me thinking. I've never heard that. I've never.
I got a name for everybody.
Yeah. Well, what do you call me?
Oh, trust me. When you're out of here, I'll say what I call
was in my
you.
ear. He's like, oh, wait a minute. We don't have a 7-second delay. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had many names myself, in my life.
Yeah. We'll save this for off the record. Okay. Race number 3. Back to our feature on the night. Fillies and Mares Preferred with that group of 6. We already talked kind of deeply about Sylvia Hanover, but, we want to look back at the most recent. And what has impressed me so much about Caviar and Crackers is not just physically how good she's looked out there, but the way she's performing and the confidence that not just Eddie expels with her, but she expels right now. That last start, first over and just powers up. I know it's a love thing, raced at the back in her first start, but she still raced well. But for, this one here, we know is kind of been a stone cold closer. to just power up and then power away.
Yeah, and look at the size of her compared.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like really, like that's Tells on a roll on top, and this is Eddie coming now with caviar and crackers, and I mean she just won't give in.
She loves what she's doing right now.
She loves
doesn't
what
she?
she's doing. She absolutely crackerjack good right now to the tune of 92,000, Chad. Already this year put away.
Yep.
Congratulations. I mean, their horses look sensational.
Yeah.
I mean, minus the pink, but I mean, the horses themselves look unbelievable when they come on the track, and they look like they're, racing that kind of a way. Can we talk just quickly while we're still on this race,
We sure
though?
can.
So much more. Did you hear? Now, it was either you or Rawless or somebody.
You and I were working. We live wired Tyler. Is that what you're talking about?
And about the nails?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Now, this one's going to be interesting because I have her in for fourth. Now, so much more. I mean, we don't really need to talk too much about Sophie. I mean, to the tune of almost 1.8 million, 76 lifetime wins. Hello. I mean, that's amazing. That's a hockey team. She, last week when Tyler qualified her at London, he was telling us on Livewire that Dawn Beats and her trainer had figured out that when the last time that she was shod, the nails were a little bit too close to the meat of her foot. Okay. So that would just mean like not excruciating pain where you're going to notice it, but to like you having a stone in your shoe and then trying to run on it.
Bothersome.
Exactly. It's annoying and it's bothersome and it makes you think more about that. Well, Tyler said she qualified insanely good. Mm-hmm. I got her in here. Now, I'm not saying that this is going to be the week, but if what I was told was true and those nails were too close to the white line to the meat of her foot, you know what I mean? And she comes up with an amazing mile tonight. It wouldn't shock me to see her win. That's how much of a difference it can make with the nails of that horseshoe of the shoe in front being too close to that to the white line, to the meat of the foot. If they're too close, it pinches them something fierce, and it can make the difference of light and day. So this is really going to be interesting with so much more.
And it's magnified even more so with her at a top level. It's not like you're dealing with some uncomfortable feeling racing against bottom level mares that you can be maybe a bit off and still win. I mean, here she is having to go, best of the best.
Yeah, and the other thing is Tyler's drove her lots of times.
Yep.
Why would he be glowing about the way she qualified so much? Like he was just like bubbling over about how great she qualified,
Yeah.
I think that there might be something to it. So have a look at her in the post parade, and she gets her old sweater back tonight in J-Mac.
Yeah, Century Jamila gets her old driver back in Louis Wah. He's won the last 6 times. He sat behind her. So you know what? I'm just going to give her a shot, and maybe the trip works out for her tonight. That's where I've gone in that Fillies and Mares Preferred. So much more could be one of the starters next week in London for the Forest City. I think that is the game plan there, but they've got their big day coming up. Always a fantastic program, and I believe there's going to be additional coverage with Primetime Racing.
Primetime Racing.
Just announced. I like the name of it. I like the name. I like the look of the new logo and that. Same great team in behind with Cujo Entertainment.
Is there anything Curtis does that's not good? I've yet to find it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
seems like everything that he takes a part in is going to be top notch and first class.
Yeah, even speaks highly about Anthony. That's been questionable, but
unbelievable.
he speaks highly of him.
Yeah, I worked one show for him. He got one taste of me, and I was gone. I haven't been back in years. That's
Cut.
right.
All right, so as we look at the confirmed starters,
And this isn't post position.
No,
Yeah.
no, they're drawing that. I think they're doing a live draw Monday on their telecast. So there's one more spot to confirm that we'll be able to hear. So yeah, I mean, Brew, Hanover, Nervin, Hanover. What a nice 1-2 punch for Dave Manery's barn. I'm glad they both got an invite into there because that'll be fun. Others that we've been seeing here, 4 to 5 Poseidon's Heelster. Lose World, who just raced well in the Juravinsky up the inside. I think he ended up finishing 3rd in there. And then Chase H. Hanover and Clever Cody.
One horse
nice
missing in there, and I was really, really hoping that they'd bring him up to that as Fun Time. Fun Time by
Fun
Alma.
Time by
He
Alma.
just raced so good his last start here. I was really hoping to see him kind of come up and compete with them ones too.
Yeah, but I think he'll be up here for the the graduate next weekend, right?
Yeah, and the Payson Derby, I'm sure. But
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen him, in there. I just think he's good right now, that horse.
And confirmed starters for the Forest City Pace, which will be on the Caviar and Crackers, and so much more. So that's great. Blue Pacific, Grit and Grace.
Grace, nice.
Yeah, Odds on Platinum. Now I
she
saw
ever good
Odds
right
on
now.
Platinum, by the way, who just won the Margaret Juravinsky.
Yeah.
She is been paid up to and eligible to the Graduate against the boys.
Good.
I don't know if that'll be the
wow.
game plan.
Really?
Obviously not round one, it doesn't
Right.
look like, but she
Yep.
was, I think I saw her on the eligible list.
Oh,
you know,
cool.
Lady Tara, who just had that
Yep, and-
pop-up when she's been racing well at London.
And how good is Collusion Hanover right
Collusion
now?
Hanover in there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, some great stuff that you'll be able to take in next weekend as the Raceway in London tees up their signature night. This weekend for us, the Ontario Sire Stakes program is underway at the gold level, and we welcome the gold program back with a lone division of the three-year-old filly pace for $140,000, headlined of course by the undefeated reigning horse of the year, Chantilly. She's drawing the rail with the other 9 on
Where'd
the
you go,
outside.
Chad? Who'd you go?
I'm taking a shot here. Inside. I'm going to stick inside.
Yeah, I am too.
Yeah, right from the rail.
I am too. We're a pair of crazy
But yeah,
guys, aren't
yeah,
we?
we are. Yeah, and we get paid to do this. So yeah, no Chantilly in there. You know, with the target on her back, of course. Para divisions for the Thrill Colt and Gelding Pacers at the gold level. So they're split into two $90,000 divisions. Here you've got Set Shot, James McDonald driving them this week. You got the Gray Sterling Choice, Boxer Sealster, I thought raced great. Aquinas Hanover, Blue Bar getting an opportunity in gold.
Grin and Win.
Yeah, Grin and Win getting an opportunity there. Fubar Bundy from out west, ready for prime time. The brother to Captain's Quarters, some good ones.
Fubar Bundy, his lines look really interesting, don't they?
Yeah, they were obviously hoping for a better result in that first start of the year, but
Yeah.
this is the first start of the year.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
what?
And he's an all bets off, so there's a good chance he's just going to get better as he gets older.
Yeah, and then the other division, you see the return of 2-year-old champion Stonebridge Wizard. He's in there. Wait a minute. Did I not just say Crack Shot in the last one?
No, you said Set Shot.
Oh, Set Shot, but I think I said Crack Shot.
No, you said Set
Did I?
Shot. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Play it back, producer Luke.
Let's not. So here's Crack Shot anyway, and this one from Post 3 with James driving. So Set Shot wouldn't have James driving.
Yeah.
But yeah, Stonebridge Wizard into the Control Rocks we just talked about in there as well. So a couple of nice divisions for
What
that.
a nice pickup for James.
And then looking further, we've got golds for the Thrill Trotting Fillies Monday,
Mm-hmm.
one division of that. And then next Thursday, we've got golds for the Thrill Colting Gelding Trotters.
Yeah.
I don't know how many divisions we'll get for that, but
Getting
it's
to be a
time of
pretty
year.
nice time of the year, my friend.
Well, and next weekend, I mean, there'll be the beach, the
Yeah.
Graduate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More golds.
Not sure if the Miss Versatility is here for a leg. I don't know if
Yeah.
that's already.
What about the? I'm kind of getting ahead of myself there because it's a little bit more down the road. But do we get the Tompkins gears back?
Yeah, we'll have those for the
I
two-year-olds
love
again.
that one,
Yeah,
too.
so that'll be sometime in June, I would think.
Yeah, that's
right?
a nice steak. I like that
Yeah.
one. Yeah, nice,
Yeah.
just a 2-year-old. Get them going. Yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure. Plays of the night. You've got your 4-pack lined up. I know mine didn't do well last night.
Me neither.
That was just the theme.
Yeah,
But
age first, Chad.
Okay.
The old guy gets to go first.
Yeah,
So
age
I'm going to
over
start
beauty.
off
Go
in
ahead.
race number 2 with Mr. Magic and Jonathan Drury. In race number 5, I'm going to go with me all in. She's got it all from the 10 hole. Worth a look's going to be Can't See Me, making her first start back for Team Stacy. And Waples Watch, Shadow of an Angel. Thank you, Chad.
Yeah, you're welcome. Century Jamila's my beat the fave because I do not think she'll be the fave in there. I really do like the Luke Blade trainee Call You Up in race number 6. I'll call for that one to rebound. I'm all in on Shadow of an Angel in race number 8, and then Only the Good Die Young, I believe, is a major factor in that jackpot high 5 finale. Chief's Dream Girl for Gislain, liking that one, due for more. Always seems to come up with a good effort at a price. Call You Up for John Wallace, so he and I agree on that. We agree a few times tonight, and Garnet Barnsdale's going to go head-to-head with him with Side Effects in that same race for Murray Brothers. So good luck to that lineup. We'll have their picks throughout the night as well. All the best to all of you tuning in and playing along with the product here on a Friday night. We will tee up the early pick 5 on the other side of the break. Stay with us.